Dr. Hassan, can you see the slides I'm sharing?
Yes.
Dah? Ada? Share to Dr. Hassan. Dr. Hassan, I will send you the backdrop so that you can use the same one as mine.
Okay.
Okay. Give me a second. Stop sharing this.
Hello, Dr. Majid.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome.
Hi. Okay, Dr. Hassan. Just send you the backdrop.
Thanks.
Oh, I like your house, Dr. Majid.
Thank you.
Okay, can you see what I'm sharing? The slides?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. So, okay. And is my voice clear for everyone?
Yep.
Oh, perfect. Okay, nice. Okay, but we're gonna start in about 6 minutes, so I'll be right back. Okay, so let's do some checking before we start. Is my camera looking okay for you all?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so thank you very much, Dr. Hassan and Dr. Majid. I think now we have quite a few participants already in here. Okay. Mm. Okay, give me a second. Okay, good. Everything looks good. Okay, so can we start, Dr. Hassan? And let me check. I think I saw Catherine in here as well. Can
Yeah,
we
she's-
start? Both of you
she's
can
there.
hear my voice clearly, right?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Okay. All right. Okay. I think I saw someone was trying to get in. Okay, it's all right. Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to the LearnForward Forum 2025, hosted by School of Education, Sunway University. So we have conducted this series for quite a while now, and today we mark this session as our 5th session. And in this LearnForward Forum series, our intention is to bring together educators, researchers, and innovators to explore how we can advance equity, sustainability, and innovation in education. These topics or these themes are particularly important because in today's world, we talk about how we should bring education, or we should provide opportunity for everyone to have access to education, or more commonly known as education for all. For everyone's information, the School of Education, Sunway University, have recently hosted the International Conference in Inclusive Education last Friday itself, where participants from different countries came together to share their research and perspective in the topic of inclusive education. I personally had an opportunity to join that conference and learn through so many people talking about equity and inclusivity in education. And among one of them, a topic that is very highly discussed nowadays, especially on social media, which is our today's topic, that is AI. Give me a second. Okay. Okay. AI in education, empowering students as innovators. Okay. So before we start, I would like to read to you a quote here. Okay. This quote says, artificial intelligence will not replace teachers, but teachers who use AI will replace those who do not. Now, maybe Catherine knows who said this. Okay, so to all of you, any guesses who said this? But I will not reveal it to you just yet. Let's come back to it at the end of our session today and see who said this. Okay. So our topic today is AI in education. And this topic invites us to think about how AI is changing the way we teach and the way we learned and how we can prepare our students to become creators, not just consumers of technology, and not just preparing our students, but also preparing ourselves as educators, how we can become creators with artificial intelligence or AI, okay? With technology, we can co-create together. Okay, so we are not going to become the only consumer and relying on AI generated content, but we co-create content and we co-create learning materials together with AI. Okay. So I am Astri Yulia. It is my pleasure to be your moderator today. And we have two wonderful speakers who will share the perspective from the uh, side of institutional, higher education institution perspective, as well as student perspective on how AI can help us reimagine the future of education. Okay, so the tagline is the future of education, what it will look like, and what is our role in this interesting future. Okay, whether it is as an educator or as a student, what would be our role in AI intensive world, or another term that I'm quite familiar with, that I've read so many times, it's called the age of AI. Okay, so without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker here. Is my esteemed colleague, Associate Professor Dr. Hassan Abuhassna. Dr. Hassan, at the same time, is a Deputy Dean for Employability and Alumni at the School of Education. He is an active advocate for AI in education. Okay. He has a very strong profile on LinkedIn, where he has highlighted about teaching with AI, where he writes about frameworks model for AI-enabled learning and human dimensions of technology and education. And more importantly, Dr. Hassan has advocated about digital literacy, the importance of digital literacy for educators as well as students, especially in the age of AI. So here is Dr. Hassan's LinkedIn page. For those who have not followed Dr. Hassan, please do so, because you will learn so much from Dr. Hassan. So without further ado, Dr. Hassan, I would like to invite you today to give a talk, or to share your valuable knowledge with all of us about AI. However, before I invite Dr. Hassan to share his slides, I would like to remind everyone of the structure of today's forum. So first, we will have Dr. Hassan share his knowledge or his perspective on AI in education. After that, we will have a dialogue discussions, okay, a panel discussion with Dr. Hassan and another speaker who I will invite later on. Okay. After that, we will have a Q&A, open Q&A for everyone. And then we'll have some key takeaways to share, and then I'll record your attendance. So stay until the end of this session today for attendance recording. All right. So that's it. I hope you are all ready to listen and learned from none others, the expert in AI in education, Associate Professor Dr. Hassan Abuhassna. Dr. Hassan, the screen
Thank you
is
very
now
much.
yours.
Thank you very much, Dr. Astri. Much appreciated for this great introduction. Welcome, everyone. Can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay. All right. Thank you again, Dr. Astri, and good evening, everyone. My name is Hassan Abuhassna, and I'm Associate Professor here at School of Education, Sunway University. And for more than a decade, I have been working in the intersection of education technology, artificial intelligence, and digital learning. My main purpose or motive is to help teachers, lecturers just like you, to turn technology into something we call it advantage instead of a challenge. So the focus is very simple, which is help educators to build future-proof skill sets. And not only that, but to move from traditional teaching into AI-powered pedagogy. That could include design lessons, lesson plans, not only digital, but converting the whole process of teaching and learning into data-driven, adaptive, and personalized learning. So the topic today will be about whether AI going to be replacing teachers. I know this is a very common and everyone is talking about topic, which is AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, you name it. It's everywhere, whether it's going to be replacing teachers. But the question is it's not whether AI is going to replace teachers. Are we evolving with the technology that has been offered? Because we are teachers, we must be the most evolving, sample in the society. Because the truth is, AI can replicate knowledge, it can provide knowledge, but it will never replicate wisdom and emotions. So the simple answer is no, AI will not replace us, but teachers who embrace AI will definitely replace those who don't. I remember reading this few months ago in San Francisco. That school made headlines that they launched an AI-powered classroom with no human teachers, only algorithms, and it was great for the first few weeks. Very exciting. The students loved it. There's no one to monitor the students inside the class. But then something happened very humanly, which students starting missing the human connection. Imagine that they had the perfect lessons, but there is no communication at all. AI could provide all the knowledge in the simplest way, but there is no human, there is no inspiration, there is no communication between the student and the teacher, there's no feedback given. And that is when the school realized that education is not only about transferring knowledge, it's about transforming through the relationship we build through education. If you ask me, what is one takeaway that you have taken from your PhD, for example, I would simply say is the relationship between me and my supervisor. It's never about the methodology, the framework, the approach. Yeah, back then it was, but then after that, when I graduated, when I'm his colleague now, it's only the communication and it's only the relationship we build with our teachers, with our supervisors. So this is AI could not and it will not provide. So yes, it is AI could provide knowledge, but never about the emotions. So will AI make teacher, let's say, indispensable? And this is guided from a real data. This data provided that 88% of students now use AI for their assessment. But the twist is 53% of them still say that they depend on their teachers to help them use AI correctly. So it's not about AI itself, because I've been teaching students how to use AI, how to prompt using AI the correct way, even though the students, let's say, suggest or claim that they could use AI, but when they know how to use it the correct way, it's a different story. Maybe we can listen to Catherine later on. And AI, instead of the student, they don't want AI instead of the teachers or instead of the lecturer. Guide them to use AI the correct way. And this is our new role. If you ask me, what is the new role of teachers nowadays? It's not content delivery anymore. It's not transferring knowledge anymore, but it is learning navigators, as an AI has taken all over. We call it an AI-driven world. So the new role of teachers nowadays is to guide the students, uh, uh, teach the student, update the students with the correct and the appropriate way to use AI. Now, let me drop a little science here. This is actually a meta-analysis that summarizes 51 studies. And the main, let's say, result is that this study found that using ChatGPT did improve student performance by an effect size of 0.87, which is huge if you ask me. And it only worked when there was human pedagogical guidance. So these students were trained to use AI the correct way. Thus, their performance was improved. Okay. And in AI Power Classroom also, this is one of the results. The test score rose from 54% higher when teachers were still involved. So the student would never want AI alone as the source of the information. Instead, they want to be guided and they want to be driven to use AI the correct way. And this is one of the, let's say, the fact that we need to deal with. AI is just a technology as any other technologies that have been discovered before, just like the calculator. And we do remember when calculator was invented and math teachers were out, they don't want to use AI. They don't want to use the calculators, claiming that calculators will take their job. And guess what? Now the calculator is nothing comparing the technology that we have. So yeah, we need to keep up to date with the technology. We need to be more exposed, and we need to accept the technology, not, stand against the technology. Now let me have you involved a little bit about which aspects of your job could never be replaced by AI. If I may rephrase this question is, what's the gap? What is happening? Because we all have been using AI tools and we have the potential, but do all of us have the appropriate training or the confidence to use AI? I think this is the gap, because we have hosted training shop to teachers here at School of Education at Sunway University before. We have trained hundreds of teachers, maybe 600 plus. And the most common thing that I have noticed is that majority of the teachers are ashamed to announce that we use AI as part of our job, because at the end of the day, it's a technology that will save you some time, instead of spending your whole weekends preparing lesson plans. AI could help you with that. So the gap is we are refusing a technology it's actually part of our days. So I want you to please participate in the comments. Which aspect of your job could never be replaced by AI? Now, the role of teachers, as any, different job, has evolved. Before, we were the source of information. We only have the information. It's one way of communication, and then we need to transfer the knowledge that we have into our students. But now it's different. We are the architects of learning experiences. It's never about the content anymore, okay? Because let's be honest, AI can do many things faster than us as teachers. But I mean, it can write lessons, it can write lesson plans, it can even write assessments, activities, you name it, right? But the question is, what it can AI not do, okay? The human connection, the human touch. So let's say AI teaches the mind where teachers touch the hearts. And also, one more time, it's always about the relationship you build with your students, with your, colleague, your classmates. So it's never about the knowledge alone. Now, what AI can do, it can provide a lot of, let's say, it could provide major transformations in education right now. And one thing that is actually has been proved to be working is lesson planning. Lesson planning could take days from teachers. But with the use of AI, the use of the correct prompt, again, prompt engineering is not something random. It is something, it's a science by itself. So there is a lot of courses and it's a specialty that you could enroll in how to prompt correctly so that the results will be back the way that you desire. So lesson planning, AI can create curriculum frameworks in seconds, but teachers still need to bring this context and turn this context into something that will translate the relationship between the student and the teachers. Also, assessment. AI can mark quizzes, but teachers will make this assessment designed more creative, more aligned with the students. So I can simply use AI to correct my assessment, for example, but AI will never know what relationship between me and my student inside the classroom, how engaged the students are. So there's always will be a human touch needed when it comes to AI. Third, which is the personalized learning. AI can adapt difficult situations to make it very easy for the students to adapt, but only teachers will understand the emotions behind it. So it's a combination between the technology, AI aspect, and the human need and demand, let's say. Okay. Now, this is another quick poll, which how might AI help you become a more effective educator? All right, let's just make it a little bit interactive and share in the comments. What's one part of your job that AI could never replace? I want you to think about it as the empathy, the emotion, who could motivate you inside the classroom. So feel free to drop your thoughts in the chat. We will go through this after the presentation. Now, if I might ask you, which is the big fear of everyone nowadays, will AI take your job? Well, the answer is no, but again, it will change our jobs. 65% of students already view AI as essential for success, which I totally agree with them. I always consider AI as an assistant, is a paid assistant who could actually help you and get job done with a faster time that could actually provide you some extra hours, right? None of them said they want to learn without teachers. This is the interesting part. So teachers will never be replaced. But again, teachers with AI skills, they will be taking the lead, all right? Now, what they really want as a student is teachers who can guide them again, ethically, correctly, and so that students will master AI the correct way and not to be unethical. So the teachers who win in this new era are those who learn to lead AI, not to fear AI. Right? Okay, now the truth is AI will not replace teachers. It will never replace teachers. Okay? It will replace teachers who don't have the skills, who don't embrace AI. So the correct question isn't whether AI will transform education, it's whether we will lead that transformation. Technology always moves fast, but the passion, the purpose, the pedagogy move deeper. And that is our responsibility as teachers. And that's why the next generation of educators must master both digital and human. Let's say purpose in School of Education, Sunway University, is to expose teachers to the real role of AI and technology. And that's why we have integrated courses related to AI in education in our syllabus. Finally, the third participation that I want you to participate, what ethical concerns? Because whenever there is technology, whenever there is AI involvement, there will be ethical concerns. So what do you think are the ethical concerns that should guide our adoption of AI in education? The unique advantages that we have at School of Education, Sunway University, especially in our master and PhD programs, is to provide evidences and to be up to date with the content that we provide to our students, is to provide them with courses that are related to AI in education, technology in education, how to prompt the correct way, and how we will be able always to guide our students in this era. All right, that's all from my end, and these are some very useful references and readings if you would like to explore more about AI and how to use AI and the ethical use of AI in education. Thank you very much. Back to you, Dr. Astri.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hassan. Very interesting sharing. Yeah. I like how you have the pop-up quiz for all of us. Yeah. It's very engaging. I see that many people have started to put in words into the chat, including myself, because the questions that we see on the screen, they are quite interesting. And it's tricky a little bit. Like for me, when you have a question, what is the part of the job that only me can do, while my friend, my associate assistant, wouldn't be able to do? I was going to say thinking, because usually when I use AI, thinking comes from me. I think about what I want to do, the idea generation. But now ChatGPT have the thinking mode. So I'm like, oh, then it's not true anymore.
Yeah,
may
let's take
not
it
be.
as a thinking partner.
Yeah, I'm not the only one thinking then anymore now. So my assistant can also think with me, right? So yeah, and AI can also collaborate with us now. So there are actually a lot of things that they can do. I'm not sure whether they can collaborate with one another. Like for example, ChatGPT and Copilot, can they collaborate between the two platforms like friends? No, I'm not sure just yet. Maybe something that we may be able to explore in the future. Very interesting topic, Dr. Hassan. before we continue, let me share again my screen with you all. Give me a second. Okay, hope you can all see my screen now. Okay.
Yes.
So I guess you guys have had some reflections yourself about what is the one thing that only you can do, and that task may not be able to be completed by a robot or an AI assistant. So there are not so many things anymore, right? But I do believe, I think one of the audience just now mentioned that it's interactivity. Yeah, in the capability to interact meaningfully with empathy. I believe we have the heart, so we are capable to feel the empathy and provide support interactively to learners and to each other. Okay, so but of course there are other things that has been shared on the chat group. Later maybe we will explore and see what you guys see as unique to human. Yeah. All right, so thank you very much, Dr. Hassan. As I mentioned earlier, that after Dr. Hassan sharing, we will be having a dialogue session with our panelists. One of our panelists is Dr. Hassan, and our other special panelist here today is Catherine. Catherine is our postgraduate student at Sunway University. She is currently enrolled in our Masters of Education, the conventional mode. And I believe Catherine has taken Dr. Hassan's class about AI in education. Right, Catherine?
Yeah, we actually just recently finished taking this block.
Oh, then it's fresh from the oven, yeah?
Yeah, fresh from memory.
Oh, okay. Catherine herself, she explores how AI can inspire creativity and empower students to take ownership of their learning. She also represents the learner's voice from Sunway University School of Education in the evolving conversation, offering a fresh perspective, just fresh because she just finished the class, right? On how AI can help students become true innovators and creators. Okay, without further ado, let us welcome Catherine Grace Fernandis, our beloved students at the School of Education. Okay. Okay, so now for the discussions, before I invite the audience to raise their own questions, I have prepared specific questions that I think would be relevant to be discussed today. These questions, of course, is in the area of AI in education. Okay, so we'll go through the question one by one, and then after each question, I will invite Dr. Hassan and Catherine, and we'll take turn who will answer first. Okay, so are you ready, Dr. Hassan and Catherine? Okay.
Yes, sure.
Okay, so for this first question, I will invite Catherine to answer first because Dr. Hassan just shared his point of view in this. So maybe Catherine as a student will answer to the first question. Let me read the questions to all of you. With AI helping students come up with ideas, design projects, and even write, as Dr. Hassan mentioned nowadays, there's a report that says like 80 plus students, 80 something percent student are reported to use AI for their assessment, right? So how can we make sure that our students can still become creative thinkers, okay, not just button pusher, okay, like if we ask them to create an infographic, so it's not just okay, here is this, create it for me. So in the future, Okay, in the future of education, or in the future of education, what will creativity look like in the classroom of the future? Catherine,
I
the screen is
uh,
yours.
Thank you. So I believe that creativity will be shown in how we actually use AI to express ourselves or use AI in order to produce something. So, for example, you say about ideas, projects, or writing. First off, one of the things that it's actually related to what like Professor Hassan has mentioned, which is learning how to use AI properly with not only proper prompting, but also ethically. And I say that because when students know how to properly prompt, how to use AI properly with guidance, and as well as the ethical barriers and considerations, like, okay, should we just be using AI to simply create, like, for example, I have a report to write, just write me a report. Is that correct ethically? And is that also a benefit to you? No. And why as well? Um, so when students understand that, they understand not only how to use AI properly, but they also understand, okay, these are the hard limits, but now I can be given space to kind of roam free. Like, okay, kids, you can play inside this garden, but don't make sure that you don't go near this area because it's dangerous. And I say, okay, like that. We will also go and explore, okay, how can we use AI? Are there more AI tools that we could use in order to help us to do something, but not replace us? So, for example, me and my classmates, Farha, we often like to find different AI tools that could actually be helpful to us in order to, for example, find research papers more easily or to help us design papers, or even, for example, when it comes to our assignments, Dr. Hassan had showed us how can we use AI and how can we prompt AI properly to help us generate, for example, outlines, to generate even like the framework, the skeleton of PowerPoint slides. Not so much to replace the work that still needs to be done. For example, making our slides look good, adding in any necessary points or citations, but in the sense that it just makes it a little bit easier and it allows us to have more room to work on other things, like, for example, putting in more thought into actually designing the activity, designing projects, and so forth.
Sorry, Catherine, I didn't realize I was muted. Interesting, very interesting. I just wonder, Catherine, this is like follow-up questions because you
Okay.
did mention that it allows you to have more time to that you can put into making the work better, which is very interesting, right? So have you ever experienced where um, like for example, when you give a prompt to an AI tool, right? Uh, One is a detailed prompt and another is a simpler prompt. That a simpler prompt, will it be like, for example, if you're just being give me knowledge about, or give me information about A, compared to provide me information about A based on 1, 2, 3, or 4, something like that, right? So have you ever done something like that to compare the results or the outcomes that it produces?
I would say that I understand it from firsthand experience because when I started using AI, it was like that. My prompts were not very detailed, they were very simplistic. Because initially I didn't really understand, like, why does a prompt have to be designed this way? Like, why can't you just write it like a normal person? And until, like, again, like throughout the duration of this our course AI in education, as well as other workshops, um, learning how to prompt and then seeing the difference, you realize that proper prompting, even if it looks like a really long prompt, or if it looks like a lot of steps, it actually saves you a lot of it actually saves you a lot of time, because you notice that with improper prompting, you notice that there's actually quite a lot of errors. You have to keep prompting the AI, which actually almost leads to more errors. But if you do proper prompting, let's say I wanted it to draft a rough draft of a paper, of an outline for like a lesson outcome, like a lesson design, like a lesson plan. And let's say I have no idea how to do a lesson plan. I've never done one before. So if I put in a generic prompt, it will make a lesson plan, but it won't be detailed. It won't be related to any of the like initiatives or learning outcomes that I want. And it's going to be lackluster. But if I put in a detailed prompt about creating the lesson plan, then the lesson plan comes out what I would say 95% what I want it to be, which is up with only needing a little human touch, being like, okay, this is not quite right. This maybe I tweak it here, but otherwise it is 95% of what I want it to be if it's correctly prompted.
Interesting. Thank you for sharing. So I think I want to conclude from your answers. I want to make a conclusion for question 1 here from your perspective, Catherine. Later, we will hear Dr. Hassan's perspective that being a button pusher doesn't give you good outcome, right? Doesn't bring you a great product. In order for you to get or to generate to produce something good, you need to become creative thinkers, right? You may not be the one designing or uh, doing the whole thing by yourself, but now you have your AI, but the creative mind comes from you because you're the one who knows what you want, how you want it to look like. Like, for example, like if you're talking about a lesson plan, right? You know what you want to expect, what topic you want to have, right? And also what kind of activities you want to give to your students or to you want to provide in your lesson. So the creative mind is our mind. It's not AI's creative mind, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like the way that I often talk to people about using AI is that AI is a tool. It learns from us interacting with it. So like obviously if I put in a very simple prompt, it's only going to deal with it in a simplistic manner. But if I put in a detailed prompt and I put in multiple shots, whether it's by putting in examples or like things that I am interested in, then it's going to create again, I wouldn't say a perfect outcome because I don't think there's going to be a perfect output, but it's going to be a very good output that again would otherwise have maybe taken, if I had done it without any AI help at all, would have taken maybe hours because of my limited understanding of how a lesson plan is supposed to look, for example.
Interesting. So in the future, the classroom of the future will be a collaboration between human creative mind, right, with the advanced processing of the tools itself, which is AI, right? So therefore, when we have this creativity and advancing advanced process system, then things that are good can be produced more uh, easily and faster, I would say. Right? And then our job as the creative thinkers, the owners of creative thinkers, who's just to make things better, right? Review it and edit it, right? I think that's what I learned from you, Catherine. Okay, now I would like to invite Dr. Hassan to share your perspective. What will creative look like in the classroom of the future, Doctor?
Thank you again, Dr. Astri. Yeah, I totally agree with Catherine. The thing is, AI is already here. It's not the future, it's the present. And the student use AI. And we know that the student using AI, but somehow the student will want us to, understand the other way around. So we know students are using AI with us teaching them how to use AI. Probably they will have the confidence in using AI, and that will lead to creativity, and it will lead to the fact that student will take AI as a creativity partner. What I mean by that is when we teach students how to prompt the correct way, then they could use AI to design prompts. So they will have like a bank, prompting banks, for example. This is how creative you could be with AI. Instead of being afraid, then it will turn you to someone who is confident with using AI. You have your own design of how to prompt and how to use AI to prompt and what's the nature of dialogue between you and AI. This is how we could transform education from being afraid of using AI and being afraid to show that I'm using AI. For example, in my assessment, I'm confident that I use AI the correct way. And that's why I showed my student how to actually answer one of the assessments using AI, but instead of just give me a report 200, 300 words, the process itself is so complicated. There is a lot of, phases that you need to go through. As I mentioned, and Catherine mentioned, the zero shot, one shot, few shots, the contextual that you give to AI, the persona that you are going to plant in AI so that AI will give you the correct and the most accurate results. So our challenge is not to block AI, it is completely the opposite. It is to make AI give you better questions, better answers, and to think the way machines think. Because again, when we deal with AI, it's our style. My account and your account are totally different. It's based on the way how we trained these accounts so that, for example, if you go now to ChatGPT and just ask it very simple question, can you tell me about myself? What is the thing that I need to, what are my weaknesses? What are my strengths? Based on, for example, my LinkedIn social media account. What do you think? How do you think I should improve this social media? Or how do you think I should ask you for prompts for my posts, my future posts? So in that scenario, AI will not serve you as just a content giver. It will think with you. It will give you something that you need to build your knowledge and maybe social media platforms based on.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Hassan. Dr. Hassan shares, I think he mentioned quite a lot about how students should be good, or at least how should they know how to learn to prompt, right? To prompt specifically, and also to prompt in details using different prompts to ask AI to perform tasks, and also using sequence for prompts, right? One after another, things like that. Okay. And I think students in the School of Education, especially those who have taken AI in education course with Dr. Hassan, are very fortunate because you learn from the best, right? However, not so many not everywhere that we can easily find somebody to refer to, such as Dr. Hassan, right? What I mean to say is Dr. Hassan is not in everyone's classrooms. So the challenge today is, Dr. Hassan, I feel it's more on equal access to the same digital skills. It may not be so much of digital infrastructures anymore. In the urban and suburban areas, I believe digital infrastructures are quite good. In every household, I think they have it may not be in every, but in many households, they have access to phones, mobile phones, right? Smartphones, tabs. Even the government has provided support for low-income families to have their children with a laptop or a tab, right? So digital infrastructure have improved a lot in Malaysia. And globally as well, I believe, even though there are some areas that still need a lot of support in digital infrastructure. But now I feel that the digital skills, there is a huge gap. We're not talking about geographical differences like, urban in rural, not about that. We're even talking, even in the urban area, even among students within the same school, right? Or students within the same university, there can be a huge gap of digital skills, right? So in your perspective, Dr. Hassan, what can these schools or this university, what can they do so that AI can benefit all learners, all students fairly in the years ahead? Because right now, I think the gap is huge. So how can we reduce this gap so all students can benefit from AI?
Thank you very much, Dr. Asta. I think this is a very important question, and this is where a leadership and policy must step in. We need to invest in teachers. Very obvious. It's not about computers, it's not about accounts, it's not about open AI accounts or how much, you can buy an expensive laptop or whatever. It's about teacher training because, again, teachers need to be trained and need to be exposed to the, let's say, the magic behind AI and these such technologies. And that's why this mirror digital literacy. Digital literacy is one of the most important and dangerous terms of nowadays in this era, because if we are not exposed to digital literacy and to what extent this digital literacy is important, then we will be lost. Imagine your child has been a victim of one of these, AI applications that can impersonalize people, that could be very harmful to these people. But if your children is exposed to digital literacy and he knows or she knows that this is fake and I can prove that, then problem solved. So digital literacy and the meaning of digital literacy to both teachers and students are very important. And the training for teachers, how to train them to be effective in using AI and technology, is instead of rejecting the whole idea of using AI and utilizing AI, is the only solution from my perspective.
Wow. This is a very, I feel what you are advocating, Dr. Hassan, is a very good initiative that to invest in teacher development, because I believe that teachers can make a difference. Even this morning, I listened to a podcast as I was driving to work, that teacher should be empowered with the right knowledge, the right skill, and more importantly, the relevant skills and knowledge. Okay, because what students are exposed today may be different than what than the exposures that the teachers had as they were going to school, right? So therefore, there's a different kind of world. Okay, there's a different world between the teachers and the students. So therefore, to bridge this gap, okay, teachers should be trained. Teacher should be further developed so that they become relevant to the world that the students are living in right now, right? So I agree completely with you, Dr. Hassan, that we need to invest in teacher education. So for everyone, one of the way to improve teacher education is through pursuing higher education, okay, to giving them more uh, opportunity to go for master's degree, PhD, or even professional training in AI specifically. So in this case, now I want to hear from Catherine. Okay, Catherine as a student herself. Okay, in Masters of Education, and I believe Catherine, you may have experienced yourself or observe among your friends, among your peers, that there is a different gap in terms of digital skills. Not just skills to work with computer, but also in prompting, right? So bringing you back to question 2 here, what can schools like our School of Education and university like Sunway University or even other universities, what can we do so that this gap can be identified earlier in the beginning of the student study, and that gap can be reduced so that students can um, achieve their best potentials in learning and hence attain highest performance in their education. Catherine.
Okay, so at least for me, the way that I came to learning, at least becoming more digitally literate when it comes to using AI was actually through our workshops for research methodology, but that was specifically research methodology. So I think that having short session workshops, whether it's to focus on specific types of prompting or just prompting in general, would be really good, as well as just getting more feedback from students about, hey, like, what do you want? What do you need? Because um, as far as I can say, like, for me, taking the workshops have been really helpful, but there's also lots of students, at least especially at the master's PhD level, where they're not able to make it to the workshops sometimes, especially because they have other priorities that they need to take care of. So how can we make those workshops either more accessible to them if they're not able to be there in person, for example? But also, besides just that, like maybe we have our own particular concerns or things that we want the workshops to cover more of, or maybe we wish we had more in-person time with the teacher, for example. So maybe they would prefer to have more time during those shops to actually interact and practice with the teacher to ensure, okay, am I really doing this properly? Um, that's from the master's and like postgraduate level. I'm not completely sure about the like bachelor's level, for example, but at least for me, I remember during my bachelor's, I had to take like some sort of ethics course, and I think integrating AI prompting and even the ethics of how to use AI at an earlier stage, such as during the bachelor's program, would be a massive like advantage because you're not only teaching them how to use AI and how to prompt properly, but you're also at the same time interconnecting it with ethical practices, whether it's from like for me, it's psychology. So like whether it's from the ethics of us from a psychological background or from even other backgrounds.
Interesting. This is a very good point. I'm not just listening from the educator side, listening from the student side, like yourself, Catherine. Though what you share is particularly on the perspective of postgraduate students, right? But I feel um, even postgraduate students are the ones who could be benefited a lot by AI, right? Considering the extensive amount of information that postgraduate students needs to process, right? So AI could highly benefit them, and therefore equipping them with the right skills is imminent and is important. Okay. All right, now it brings me to the last question that we have for our dialogue session, which is if we want students to be innovators, not just consumers of AI, right? What changes should we start making in our teaching, curriculum, and assessment today to prepare the students for the future where AI may dominate the everyday activities or may start to be human starts to rely on completing tasks using AI. Like I remember, when I was going to school, there was no cell phone, right? There was no smartphone, right? At that time, everything was manual, In order to speak to a friend, I need to make a phone call or I need to wait until I see that friend in order to discuss about a group project, right? For example. But then when smartphone comes in, we can have group WhatsApp where we can communicate and interact in group WhatsApp and things like that, right? So therefore, it's the same now. So AI is also a technology. Smartphone was a technology, and that was something that was, like something very big for us where we could use our phones at our fingertips to communicate instantly with not just one, but multiple people at the same time. So what about AI in the future? How can our students be the users of AI that will help them to become innovators? And again, this will become the responsibility of us educators and yourself also, Catherine, because you are in the program of Masters of Education. So therefore, when you graduate, you may become an educator yourself, right? So therefore, what will be our role, okay, in making transformation, I use Dr. Hassan's words, transformation in education. What should we do to prepare our students? So, Catherine, you first.
I think one of the things that we can do and we should do when it comes to like when you're teaching us students and what we should also do when we teach others is encouraging the different uses of AI and saying, how can you use AI? Because when you actually encourage people to think about, okay, what can you use it for to solve in your daily life, for example, then you're starting to encourage people to think about all the different ways that they can use AI. And I think that applies to most technologies in general. Like, for example, when we came out with the smartphone, everyone just thought, oh my gosh, it's a touchscreen, it has a camera, you can take pictures. But actually, as smartphones have evolved over time, smartphones are massively capable, and people thought about, hey, we have basically a mini computer in your hand. Why don't we also use it to do, for example, 3D scanning? Smartphones are powerful enough that you can actually use it to create a 3D model of an object that you scan, and that's just purely through the power of your phone. Or what if we do this and that to the phone, that your phone becomes a massive powerful tool? It still doesn't replace you. Like, you still need to be able to use it. You still need to know how to use it. But when you start to think about, okay, how can I use this, or how can I change it? How can I modify it to become better or for my uses? Then you're not just like what they say is a button pusher. You're not just using it, you're using it in different ways in order to address any problem that you have in your life, really.
Very interesting. I'm going to try that in my class next term, where diversify ways of using AI in a task, right? So I will try that, Catherine, and maybe in the future I'll get back to you how it works. Yeah, this is you just gave me an idea, like one group use it this way, another group of students use it that way, right? So they can explore on how it can benefit, what benefit does it have through different perspective and different ways. Interesting. Wow. Um, Dr. Hassan, now I'm intrigued to hear what you think.
I think Catherine is trained to do experiment research. Yeah, that would be great idea for your thesis, Catherine, to differentiate
Oh,
between two groups. Which one use which prompt better?
More ideas, more ideas.
Uh,
very, very
yeah,
interesting. Catherine, you just got a brilliant, big idea here.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I believe the main idea is to change the way that how do we look into assessment and how do we measure students after all, because it's been the same way for the last 100 years. We just set into exam and collect data, and then this is fail, this is pass. But in the era of AI, it's more about practical. How, to what extent do we involve the student to be critical thinkers instead of just memorize and answer and you are A plus and you are A and so on. So I think more practical assessment should be involved, more problem solving, critical thinking situations that we should put the students in so that the answer will be more about a reflection of their life instead of just memorizing information. And because we are evaluating their brains and their ability to memorize instead of their doing, their actions. I think this is the major thing that we should do, to involve more practical side of their doing.
Oh, I can't agree more with you as well in this perspective, Dr. Hassan. Assessment back then, I was an English teacher, right, Dr. Hassan? So, and this is of course once upon a time where we evaluate students' speaking skills through written tests.
Wow.
A long time ago, of course, because
Wow.
you were asked to complete a dialogue, and dialogue is considered speaking skill, right? You were asked to respond to a question, but in the form of writing, because like you said, assessment back then was a written test,
Yeah,
right?
that's so.
But of course, things have changed, technology has allowed us to evaluate students' speaking skills through videotape recording, right? Through live interviews and so many more. So now with AI, that practical skills should be more emphasized. Okay, it's not just talk and talk, but whether you are capable of doing it, whether you are capable of experimenting it, Catherine, right? Whether you are capable of executing something is what matters more, I feel. And in the age of AI, it's all about practical, doing it. And in Sunway University, we believe in doing well by doing good, right? So for us, okay, training our students to be able to do well and us by training them or by exposing them on how to do good and practicing experimenting between experimenting in using AI, involved in practical skills to produce content, to produce materials for learning is also practice. So practicing every day, involved in practical development or co-creation of content is the one that should be emphasized. Uh, so both of your perspective are very interesting. Okay, with Catherine mentioning that use different perspective, use different ways, learn through different ways. Okay, so and Dr. Hassan is practical ways. Okay, in curriculum and pedagogy, what Catherine was mentioning is about differentiated instructions because everyone has their own unique way of learning. So being able to explore what's good for them in a different way, in a unique way, is something that should be celebrated, okay, in the 21st century learning. And Dr. Hassan himself, practical learning, okay, should be emphasized. This has been the core of Bloom's taxonomy, that applications. Okay, so it's not just knowing and understanding something, but whether we are able to apply it or not matters for people, and hence application is the key in education as well. All right. Thank you very much. This is a very interesting dialogue. Yeah. Now I would like to open Q&A to the audience. Okay, so I would like to invite the audience to write down your questions, and please let us know who you want, who your question is addressed to. It can also be addressed to both panelists, Dr. Hassan and Catherine. To save time, however, I would like to invite you to specify your question to, whether it's to Dr. Hassan or to Catherine. I see people are typing in the chat group, so let's wait a little bit, Dr. Hassan. If you don't want to chat, you can also turn on your microphone and ask your question directly to Dr. Hassan and Catherine. But I just got a reminder from my assistant here, Miss Naima. So before we address the questions in the chat box, I would like to invite all the participants, audience, as well as speakers, to turn on your camera so that we can take a group picture together. So let me stop sharing, okay? And then we can turn on the camera for the picture. Can we have everyone turning on your camera for the picture, please? Okay, Miss Naima, are you ready?
Okay. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. Okay, again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Okay, let me share again my slides. Okay. Okay. All right. I saw in the chat box we have questions already. Let me read the question for you all. Okay. Okay, so we have a question here by Dr. Brandon. Okay. Okay. I'm wondering if AI will never replace teachers, as mentioned in the beginning. Will programmers or developers strive to make AI to replace teachers eventually? Okay. What do you think? Maybe Dr. Hassan, what do you think about this?
Well, again, thank you, Brendan, for the question. It's never going to replace teachers. It's just a tool, a technological tool that we could use to enhance the environment, to make it more easier, more personalized, but teachers will always be needed to facilitate teaching and learning process. So again, the AI will never replace humans, especially teachers. But you need to be exposed to the skills needed to not be replaced by other humans who actually know how to use AI as a technological tool.
Okay, Brandon, did you get it? Okay, so they will not replace teachers, right? Okay, Okay, thank you. I hope that answers Dr. Brandon's question. Now we have Dr. Majid, also addressed to Dr. Hassan. Do you have any advice for improving research skills using AI?
Well, what I personally do is I don't rely on one AI tool, especially general AI like ChatGPT, when it comes to research. There are specific AI tools that have been invented for research. One of them is Scopus AI. Scopus AI is one of the most major, important tool that I would say. Why? Because it provides accurate and real information based on, because Scopus AI is a database that has AI tool that could provide you accurate references, which will eliminate any opportunities for hallucination and fake data that ChatGPT usually does. So Scopus AI is one of the tools that I would really recommend for researchers.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hassan. So diversify the tools as well, yeah, not rely on one tools, but explore more accurate or more tools that relies on databases like Scopus AI. Very good. We have a very interesting question here from Miss Agnes. Dr. Hassan, can we introduce AI to young children? Wow, okay. I am
Well,
looking forward to this answer.
well, my question is yes and no. Yes, if it's guided and it's monitored, and we know to what extent they use AI for and what purpose they use AI for, and no, if it's not guided and not monitored in a way that maybe they could ask nonsense questions. So again, AI and any other technology, YouTube, for example, because YouTube and Google is actually based on AI and algorithms. So if we let our children use Google, this is AI because it will be, thinking on behalf of them. They could search on anything. If you give a phone to your kid, then this is access to AI. This is access to images, videos, you know. So yeah, it's always been advised that if children to use technology, it needs to be monitored all the way.
Yeah, I agree with you, Dr. Hassan. Monitoring and supervisions will need to be a constant in children's interaction with technology. I myself have small children, not very small. My youngest one is 10 today. He's celebrating his 10
Happy
years.
birthday.
Thank you. So I feel that providing him opportunity to interact with technology is important because he lives in the world fully supported by technology. So taking technology 100% off of his hand may be very difficult for him as well. However, supervision from parents and adults among him, from teachers as well, are very important because at that young age, children may not know how to differentiate uh, ethical versus non-ethical practices or actions, right? So therefore, our role is to advise them, to teach them what is right, what is not right for them to do. And maybe we should also explore what are the consequences if they do something that is non-ethical. Um, I think it is a very interesting issue, and this issue is such a trending topic in the education field in Malaysia, especially this month, right? Considering there were major violence happen in schools in this month alone, right? And many people have talked about that the actions, the violence that happen in the school could be somehow related to the use of technology, which is so rampant among the young students today. So therefore, the role of the teachers and more importantly, the parents at home to supervise, to guide and monitor our children this is the important role that we need to play at home in the age of technology advancement, which is AI. Thank you so much. Okay. All right. I think Dr. Hassan has answered all of the questions today. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. And thank you very much, everyone, for attending. But before we leave, okay, let's revisit this quote that I had earlier today, right? Before I start, I think I read to you this quote. Artificial intelligence will not replace teachers, but teachers who use AI will replace those who do not. Now, I guess you can tell already who I took this quote from, right? It's none other, our very esteemed colleague here, Dr. Hassan Abuhassna. So thank you very much, Dr. Hassan, for sharing with us lots of perspective that you have. This is very valuable to us all, right? Looking at different ways of using AI and what benefits we can have with using AI towards our work, which is educators, and also life as well. So, okay, everyone. Okay. Now, before we leave, I would like to share with you about the School of Education. In our school, we have 5 programs, okay? And you're more than welcome to join our programs. And we have 3 master's programs, Master of Education. One is OGL mode. Dr. Hassan is the program leader for this program. And then Master of Education Conventional, Master of Education by Research. We also have doctorate programs. We have 2 doctorate programs, PhD in Education by Research and Doctor of Education, which is a mixed mode program, meaning that you will have to take classes, also do research. But the scope of research between PhD and Doctor of Education is a little different. Okay, if you are interested to know more, don't forget to contact us through our social media. Okay, and also you can message our program leaders, go to our website, School of Education, Sunway University. Now, for those who are in attendance today, please record your attendance so that we can record who attends and issue certificate for all the attendance of today's session. Last but not least, I would like to personally thank Catherine, who have provided a very rich perspective from the students' point of view, what's happening among students and what they think should happen and can make improvement towards their study and their life in the future. And also, Dr. Hassan Abuhassna, who have agreed to my invitation. Yeah, I know he's a very busy person, but he has made the time for us and share with us his knowledgeable perspective and also skills in AI. All right, without further ado, thank you very much, everyone. I will see you in the next LearnForward Forum. Bye-bye.